Hello, everyone. It is Kathy with Backyard Columbus, and today's episode is about teaching kids about nature in your own backyard. And again, whether that's the patio, the balcony, the porch, or pretending your backyard is in your living room, that's completely okay. So I've got some ideas about this. I hope that they are helpful to you. I'm kind of coming at this that we have some grandkids. And the older ones, ever since so there are three that are old enough to go outside and play and like to do stuff, all right? We don't have any toys here. So we're talking about 9, 7, and almost 4. And I have borrowed some toys from my neighbor before because we live out of town from them, okay? So they don't come to our house a ton, but when they do come here, I'm like, oh no, what if somebody needs some toys? I get them, I have them available. And they've almost never played with them because you know what they love to do? They love to walk around the yard. Believe this or not, they love to walk around the yard and go on, quote unquote, an adventure. They gather up little baskets and they go find stuff in our yard. Now, I've created a lot of paths. If you get on my YouTube channel, I have a few tours of my yard on there. They love to walk around these paths. They absolutely love to go into my greenhouse, and it's a hobbyist greenhouse that my husband put together for me. It's small. You can't use it in the winter, but I still love this thing. They love to go in there and spray the plants. Like, I don't even know what to say about that. I love being in there, but that doesn't seem very exciting to me. They just love it. And I love that. I mean, they just love all the things that they see. They love to feed the chickens. They love to see, we have a butterfly habitat. And what I mean is we have all kinds of native plants like milkweed. Okay, so the monarch butterfly comes along, lays its egg on the milkweed plant, which is the host plant for the monarch butterfly. I collect those eggs or find the caterpillar. So I literally cut off the stem and put that in some water. It's a whole other episode. But I have a cabinet that I keep these eggs or caterpillars in outdoors, so they're in protective custody, I'll say, so a predator can't get them. And then they live out their whole life cycle, up until a butterfly, and then I immediately release them. The point of all that is, these kids, my neighbor kids, they love to come over and see the caterpillars, try to find the eggs. They absolutely love seeing the chrysalises inside the cabinet. So these are experiences that some of them would not have otherwise other than in a book. And what fun is that? So if you were to think, if you have a typical suburban backyard, there are ways to start incorporating this education to your children, whether they're homeschooled or public schooled or private schooled, to enhance their education, to have an appreciation for nature. So look, whatever your political ideologies are, I don't care. But this isn't some kind of crazy progressive left-wing thing. I have been told that before, is why I'm saying that. This is just, we're all human beings in nature. We are part of nature. So sharing that with kids to have an appreciation for that is awesome. Because it just makes, to be truthful with you, it really just makes the world a better place if we have respect for the things around us. So, some things you can think about in total or individually. I'm going to check off my list here. Butterflies. So that would mean, yes, you can order butterflies. I'm assuming you order eggs, or I can't imagine it's caterpillars. You can order kits. I don't know that I'm a big fan of that. I suppose one could argue there's no harm done. But to order butterflies and release them, and you've provided no nectar-producing plants in your yard for them, one could also argue that's a little bit irresponsible. Okay, so if you have some flower pots with native flowers in them, milkweed, like I said, attracts, several varieties of milkweed are available, attracts a monarch butterfly, but it also has flowers that attract bumblebees and all kinds of moths, blah, blah, blah. Zinnias produce nectar every day. The list goes. You can Google nectar-producing plants for your state, okay? So that's one thing. And then you can choose to, they have actually pop-up tents that you can then, if you only get 2 caterpillars and you keep their food supply in the little pop-up tent and you watch that caterpillar form its chrysalis, turn into a butterfly, even if you just saw 1 or 2, your kids are going to be like blown away, and you will be doing that every year. It's really quite amazing. So flowers and butterflies, that's one thing. bird watching in your backyard is something else. You can get a cheap pair. I am sure on Amazon you can find a little kid bird watching kit. I'm sure it's a cheap pair of binoculars and an ID sheet or something like that. But those are really pretty fun. Birds can actually do some pretty fun things. So that is another activity. Teach them, again, about the world around them. And you don't even have to go outside the country world. I just mean your own backyard world, your city, your state, your part of the country. That's important. Insect observation. This is going to ew out probably half the adults listening, but I don't know. I'm not wired like this. I did used to be deathly afraid of bees. And now I'm all up in their business, taking pictures and doing all kinds of stuff, all but petting them and taking selfies with them. I have been known to take a selfie with a praying mantis, if I were to be honest with you. But they're interesting. I won't bore you with all the things that I've learned about insects, but it's really fascinating when you start looking, and kids, again, get all geeked out about this. Our granddaughters have gone all around our yard trying to find the praying mantises that hit our yard this past summer. I actually had a lot, which is cool because it helps keep the bad insects in check. So that's another activity. And then, you get on Google and look up all of the insects in your area. I'd almost venture to guess there's an insect bingo. So anyway, that is a great activity to do with little kids before they get all freaked out about the creepy crawlies. Maybe you can do a little brainwashing ahead of time. Building a small pond together, that could be something as big as a large pot. Put a little bubbler in it, and maybe you'd be lucky enough that a toad will end up in there. I have friends who have larger ponds, so they're very generous with giving me tadpoles. Kids absolutely love seeing a tadpole turn into a frog. They end up they sprout their little tail, they start getting their legs getting bigger and bigger. It's really fun. And even the adults that come to our yard, they're like, well, where is the frog? We all have a little kid in there somewhere. And if you say you don't, then you need to find it because you should. Growing things. Let me tell you, kids absolutely, and I have a daughter, she used to like to grow things, and then she was like, I don't want to go outside. And now, believe it or not, at 25 years old, she's asking me to teach her how to garden. So I feel like a total winner. I have done something right. But you don't have to have a great big garden. You don't have to have a quasi farm in your backyard. You can do 116 square foot bed, which I have done an episode on. But if all you have the time for is a couple of pots, you can grow one tomato plant and maybe some peas, or they have bush beans, because bush beans is something a little kid can go out and snap off. Or you could try a strawberry bush. A strawberry plant. I found those to be kind of temperamental, but the point is you can do it small, and a kid feels a real sense of accomplishment growing a flower and one vegetable. My clients, I also sell plants on the side sometime, my little babies from my greenhouse. And I've had several people say to me, do you know that plant I bought last year? It's still alive. This is like a 50-year-old, 60-year-old adult that are pretty proud of themselves that they've kept something alive. So that's another thing. Trust me when I tell you, little kids absolutely love that. So that is another thing. And actually, I'm through my list. So just maybe food for thought. There's a plethora of things, like I just mentioned, that you can do with your kids and make them be a better citizen, help them to be a better citizen of the world that they're a part of. So that's it. I thank you again for listening. And until next time, have an awesome day.